Bill Huber's report in Sports Illustrated that he was disgruntled with his playing time. By the way, you know that you've gotten the facts of a story right when the organization does
suspend a player,
nothing to refute any of it and suspend the player. So for those that are, we don't know all the facts. I will say this. We don't know where his headspace is at. And as I said to Craig Karmazin yesterday on Sunday Karma, I am always leery, especially now when we have a better understanding of mental health and that stuff, that I don't want to be flippant about him and not at least allow for the possibility that there's something darker afoot. Because it made no sense whatsoever. Going back to Los Angeles, his hometown, to play the Rams, played more snaps than any other wide receiver on the roster in the first 4 games. It's not as if Reed and Wicks, who had 22 targets apiece, were seeing vastly more action than Romeo. Romeo had 20 targets. Your starting quarterback missed 2 full games, and his replacement attempted 33 passes in those 2 games combined. I'm no mathematician, but that comes out to 16.5 pass attempts, not completions, attempts per game. Jordan Love completed as many passes as Malik Willis attempted in those 2 games. So if your numbers are off, that might be why. Also, you dropped a touchdown and then re-caught it for a play at the goal line in the game against the Vikings last week. So he was targeted 8 times against Minnesota. Tausch, help me understand from a former player's perspective, what on earth is going on here?
Yeah, wide receivers are different, first off. Like, there's a tangible stat line, and, it's not like offensive line. It's a position, and we've seen this at other places. We have not seen it in Green Bay. Now, it's happened. It's been kept under the hood. There have been guys that have been upset with maybe how many targets they get or how many plays or what position, if they're X, Y, Z, whatever it is. But that was never to the point where someone was going to sit out or not come to practice. So I think we have to be cautious until we hear more about where, because this doesn't happen. And for someone that has been called the most even-keeled player that they've ever seen in 30 years of covering a football team, it really shouldn't happen. So when you factor all of those things in, I think what happens a lot is you have a player coming up where it's going to be getting to be money time. It's going to be getting to where you need to kind of show your worth and try to, at some point, get a new contract, whatever it might be. And numbers matter. If you feel like Jaden Reed is getting more touches or Dontavian Wicks had a big game, or at least target-wise against Minnesota, you're frustrated and maybe you're not getting the answers you're looking for, you can handle it unprofessionally. That's what I hope happened here. I don't know all of the other stuff. I don't know where Romeo's headspace is, but I can assure you, if you're going to skip practice and not let people know what is going on and then get suspended, you done some things that you shouldn't have done.
Have you ever seen this?
I have
ever?
not. No.
And joke
I've seen
all you
guys
want.
get suspended for
Sure.
doing things, right? Like if it's
sure.
But not skipping practice. You've seen where guys have slept in and missed meetings.
Sure.
And they've been punished. That usually is, fined. I have never seen someone say, I'm not getting the ball enough or I'm not playing enough. I am not going to come to practice and you're going to come to my house to find out. Like that, no. There have been cases where people have slept in and guys had to go help and see that they're alive. and that they're still here, but not to this. Never have I seen what is been reported about the Romeo Doubs situation. I have not seen that.
So, and joke if you must, but one of the reasons why this is so out of character is because he didn't seem moody. He didn't seem prone to a rash decision like this. Ask his teammates how shocked they would be by him being this guy, and I guarantee you he was pretty low on the list of people you would expect. And I know that sounds, quiet guy, kept pretty much to himself. I understand that. But it was so incongruous with his, this is a rash decision to make. And I know I can say this. I don't want to put Bill's reporting out on the street and how he goes about it. But I think it's safe to say that this in no way was something his agent told him to do. And, Tausch, you had an agent. Agents do not recommend this course of action for their clients.
You're not helping yourself at all.
No.
And I think a lot of times I don't know Romeo's situation. I know what you've reported and, how he's been on the football field, and I was really expecting him. And by the way, he was getting a ton of targets still. So that's the part that doesn't quite just meld up. And, it is a super competitive space when you have all these young guys. And why I was so enamored with the wide receiver position all offseason is because you see how things go in this league. Someone emerges. It's not going to always be kumbaya, friends. Jennifer Aniston ended up being a bigger star than the rest of them, right? Well, they figured out a way to get this ensemble cast paid evenly. That ain't going to happen here. And there's more pressure starts getting to you. You have more people in your circle telling you, well, this is BS. And you have to have other people around saying, keep working. Keep working. Good things are going to happen. Keep doing what you're doing. And when you do this, you have, and again, I don't know the mental wellness. That's the part I'm a little leery. I don't know all of that.
Yep.
But what I will say is you're not helping you and you're not helping your team. And when you're not doing that, who are you helping? Where is your best interest at? Romeo Doubs hurt himself to the point now where if I'm Brian Gutekunst or Russ Ball, am I ever going to fully trust you?
Right.
The answer is no.
Am I going to pay you?
You can go ahead and the Jair Alexander, when this happened to Jair, and that was, however you want to look at it, he was frustrated with Joe Barry, and there's no doubt about that. He decided he was going to turn this and try to make it as positive as he can. Had Green Bay not had any guaranteed money left on that deal, do I think that they keep Jair after last year? I don't. I think the way it worked out, Jair's still a really talented player. Do I think that this is going to hurt Romeo Doubs' future in Green Bay? Yes, I do.
I agree.
Do I think that it's that you can create a new opportunity moving forward? Yes. He is an important piece to this team, and I think he was missed yesterday, especially with Christian not being able to play. So now it is, just like I said with Jair, this is all on you. How you want to approach this. If you come out and say, I was selfish, I was being not lying about it, just say, I let emotions get the better of me, it's not going to happen again. Does that mean that Russ and all the decision makers up there are going to say, well, I believe him? Actions always speak louder than words, and that's why this was a huge misstep. Hopefully he can regain his steps and he can get back out there and he can be a really good football player for this football team in the future. But this is a big, big unforced error by Romeo, and it's another reason you have to take emotions out of this situation. You can be mad. You can get irritated, but you can't not show up for stuff. That's a cardinal sin in this business when there's not a good excuse or reason for it. And by all accounts, and maybe there's something, I'm still leery until there's more, until we hear from Romeo. Maybe there's something from a family standpoint. Maybe there's something more. But if there's not, this is one of those things that I don't know if you're ever going to regain the trust of the front office up in Green Bay when you do something like this.
Yeah, and let's be clear, there may be something more, but there is not something instead. Because, again, you don't get suspended for my wife or girlfriend has a complicated pregnancy and I need to be with her. I should have called, but I didn't. Like, those types of things, you might get fined, there might be an issue, but they termed this conduct detrimental to the team.
Yeah, it makes you think that what Bill reported is completely accurate.
Correct. So beyond that, so now here's my question. Romeo's flipping through channels as he's driving through Green Bay, and he happens to catch 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, which somehow gets all the way up to his radio in his car. And he hears what you said. And he calls and says, Tausch, how do I fix this?
Apologize.
What's your advice?
You apologize profusely and say it's not going to happen again. To complete lapse in judgment, I am going to be the teammate that I've been. I'm going to just put my head down and work. And then that's all you can do at this point. You need to just go be the model teammate, the even-keeled guy that you've been for the 2.5 years you've been here, and just get back to work. You have this chemistry with Jordan Love. Go out and utilize it. And I think you can get Jordan to support you. I'm sure all of his teammates will support him when he's back. That doesn't mean they're not pissed off that he did what he did.
No doubt.
And when that happens, it is really hard to regain trust. All players understand when people are frustrated about, I'm not getting reps. I'm not getting to play any at left guard. I'm not getting any reps in nickel. I'm not getting any passes thrown to me. I don't get any carries. It can vent to guys, and everybody understands it. You don't do it publicly, and you certainly don't handle it the way that he just handled it. And it's going to take a lot of time and effort from him of just doing the right thing over and over, which he'd done in the past. The question I have is this just the case where he believes he is the number one guy, and if he's not that guy, he's not happy? That happens to guys like Davante and other players that have put a lot of film down.
Correct.
That are the guys. Not to a guy that some people compared to Alan Lazard. Some people compared to
Alan Lazard would never do this.
I'm not going to say never. This is where I hope you learn your lesson on this whole most even keel. I do. I do. And you have learned it. But when you say things like that, Jason, you always have to remember, because we know guys, we think we know guys, but you know that you don't. And that's for a lot of players. You get a certain piece from them. You don't get the whole pie. And I think you found out there's a lot of unkeeledness in that Romeo Doubs pie that was even keeled before in your world. Is that fair?
I would think that if he'd had some sort of major outburst, as opposed to not showing up for work at all, maybe I would agree with you. But again, I can also say he's a different dude. And my conversations with him, I always have struggled to really understand him. I would think that a mercurial type personality would have, say, gone off to the media or got into an argument with a coach and gotten very demonstrative and angry. This feels like a passive-aggressive way to exhibit your dissatisfaction, to not even show up and not call. I mean, look, let's be honest. I don't know how serious Davante Adams' hamstring injury was. I don't know if that was related to his unhappiness in Vegas, but hard not to wonder if those two things were connected. Fair?
Yeah, but I mean, he did miss games for this hamstring, and they didn't trade. I don't know. But I do know even-keeled players, this never happens to. Mm-hmm. This, what just happened, never happens. You're going to keep working. You're going to keep grinding away, and maybe you're disappointed and you're disconcerted, but you're going to still show up and you're going to continue to work. Fair?
Let's play trivia so Tausch can tell us about AmFam. It is the sports weekend recap. We will take caller. Why are we taking caller 5, Jesse? Was that
Paul Hornick?
How many sets the Badgers went to with you on the call?
They only played 3 yesterday. No, the Packers won.
Were you hoping for a 5-gamer so you got more airtime?
No, I was not. I was very happy with how it all played out yesterday, filling in for John Audius on the volleyball call. The Packers won by 5, so that was where I came up with 5.
No, it's not bad. Jason, what do you think happens with this Romeo Doubs situation? You think he plays this weekend?
The question I have is whether or not. I mean, look, I'm going to stick with this. This is completely out of character. Now, is he a different guy? Is he? I don't want to use the word weird. Is he different than other guys I've covered? Yes. So now I can't predict his behavior beyond this. Is he going to be conciliatory and say, I screwed up, I'm coming back? Or is he going to die on this hill and say, I'm not playing for you guys ever again?
Who's the dude that asked for a trade that was third string? He was like a safety, and he's asking for a trade during mini camps. It was like the safety we drafted.
Josh Jones.
Jones decides I remember sitting at the trio, we're doing a show, and a report comes out that he wants to be traded. He tweeted something out. I'm like, nobody's trading for you. You're not even starting here.
Yeah, that was weird too. So I don't know what's going to happen next because I would have never thought that he would be the one to take this action. So how can I possibly now predict whether or not he's going to say, my bad, I want to be part of this team still?
He has to.
Because I don't see how he in any way has enough juice
He doesn't.
to say, no, I'm not playing for you guys ever again. Trade me to Kansas City because they need a wide receiver.
Could you imagine? I mean, you'd almost have to tip your cap if he had that much stones that he would go do that.
Before we go to trivia, then, my question for you in turn would be, what if he does? Do you just put him on the reserve suspended list and say la vie?
Nah, you're not doing
We're not going to give you what you want.
No. God, no. No, you're not doing it. If that's the road he wants to go down, you suspend him for the 4 weeks, let it go, and then be done. He needs to rectify this ASAP, and if he doesn't, it's over. Period.
Again, just doesn't make any sense to me. None. Zero.
I hope he has someone in his circle that is going to tell him, bro, come on. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that his agent was probably not pleased. Because, look, to your point, before we get to trivia.
He ain't helping anybody.
How is this how does this help you get paid?
Doesn't help
if that's what it is.
Matter of fact, it does the exact opposite of everything.
Exactly.
You're going to let emotions, again, and this is where I'm a little leery because of other stuff. This is the exact opposite way to do everything. This is Costanza-esque, but he ain't going to end up with the beautiful girl and the job at the Yankees. He's going to end up with no job. I don't know what he'll do personally, but it would be no good job if this is the road he ends up going down.